I have unlimited funding to do fix and flip and DSCRs and business funding. And I can't do that anywhere else in the world, just in America, this country.
People want to get involved, they can check out 𝗵𝗷99. Was that what you said? And there's a link below in the description box. But we're just one more time, just to kind of clarify for everyone. There's so many amazing things. So just to bring it down to, okay, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z, and here's what you need.
Yeah, for 𝗵𝗷99, you got to be able to run the company. If not, you're going to have to get training to be able to run a company, go work, next to the president of a company to get the experience. You need a 680 credit score. We buy successful businesses. So if you have a business you want to sell and you're ready to retire, please definitely reach out. We want to buy your company. We're looking for good, honest companies that have paid their taxes and have been good citizens in the United States. I'm not looking for people who are committing fraud and hiding money and all that kind of. If you bring a business that you've been hiding money for and that this is probably 2/3 of the businesses that come to me from, I'm like, I have no interest in buying a company that has been unethical and not taking care of their obligations. I want good companies and good people that want to make an honest living.
You like all different types of companies. I like that because there's just some businesses Noelle Randall is just so adverse to, and you said one of them was just a restaurant, but you like restaurants, and I'm just being honest. Like when you great gig, no restaurant, and that's just me. We have our own, like we said, we have our own cash philosophies. We have our own business philosophies now. But you will buy restaurants, you'll buy trucking companies, you will buy, is there any types of businesses though that you are like, no cannabis, no this, no that, like, come and talk to me?
I think, and I'm not totally adverse to it, but some of the drop shipping companies that are built can drop in a heartbeat. They can go from a multi-million-dollar company to about $5,000 in value. Those are a little bit difficult. But yeah, successful, solid business is what we're into. And
they don't have to be brick and mortar, or do you prefer brick and mortar businesses?
It doesn't matter. As long as, I don't do gambling facilities. I don't do strip clubs. I'm not heavy in devices. So wouldn't be a liquor store. So that I want to help people. I don't want to, push something that I'm not.
It's each his own. Again, people have asked me that too.
Hey, there's plenty of
business. It's funny was brought to me about strip clubs, and and you're in Vegas, so I'm sure you probably get that. And I'm like, no, it's not my clientele. Noelle Randall. I just that's not something I'm interested in profiting in, if I have to be honest. So I get it.
I have no interest. I'm not putting my money there. That's part of the reason I can live in Vegas. Most people, Vegas destroys them. I don't have a gambling habit other than gambling on people. Right.
Good point. Me too. I would say the same thing. I think that's where I gamble too, is on people.
I'm in time when people talk about their dreams. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, my heart is you own me. You start telling me what you want, your hopes, your passion. You're like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm done. Toast. You know what I mean? I'm a sucker for all that stuff. So I want to see people succeed. When people flip property and they see $100,000 check for the first time in their life, there's nothing that gives me more joy than seeing somebody just lit up because they can now. And then, of course, when they go buy, the exotic car, I'm like, oh, if they could have just put that into 4 more properties, like.
You gotta live once. As an exotic car owner now, I can say sometimes it's a bucket list. It's just like, you know what? I said I wanted to do this. I'm doing it. And it's funny because somebody called me, the Lamborghini dealership actually called me about my Lamborghini. They want to buy it. And I'm like, pretty sure I'm going to sell it at some point, but it was just, so again, and you're right. It is I definitely could have bought 4 condos. That's the literal number. I thought, like, I have 4 condos very easily.
Well, and the thing is, and if you would have leveraged it, probably 40 condos.
Exactly. I know. I get it. I know.
Tesla called me a couple months ago and said, you want a Cybertruck. I
Yeah, I
wired
know.
them the money. I got the foundation edition. So, you know,
See, I have a ex, and they were talking to me about the Y because they have like 2% interest. Because they asked me about the Cybertruck, and I'm like, that looks like a kid drew it.
yeah, you feel like a kid driving it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, my
I
friend has
have a
one.
Y too, but my favorite car is a 𝗲𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀 prototype Radical. I'm a race car driver, so I,
Okay.
I've driven Lamborghinis on the track and I've driven Ferraris and everything, but once you get in a real race car, uh,
Right.
where you have 1,100 pounds and you've got 3,000 pounds of downforce, and you can
Mm.
pull 3 Gs around a corner, and watch
Mm.
somebody pee their pants as you're going around it. It's
Now that's a fantasy, a race car, and owning a race car team. That seems cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
it's a lot of fun, and you meet. I mean, it's great. It's a great place to network. I mean, generally the people that are there, the net worths are probably the brokest guys, maybe 100 million,
Yeah.
50 million,
Yeah,
maybe.
because quite frankly, race cars are not always a profitable hobby. If you know
Oh,
people that I've known people that own race
oh,
teams, and they're like, "Oh no, it just
oh
bleeds
no,
money." I'm like, the
no.
car always needs new everything, and it's not. So
It's
yeah, I was
it's
like,
hard.
okay,
It's hard to spend less than $1 million, with everything. So, and
really,
I'm in gentleman racing. So, like, if I crash into somebody else's car, like there was a heart surgeon out in New York, who came up on me, and I cut around the turn. I think we were doing 150 and slowed down to 60 to make a hairpin turn. And then he like tried to come in, like, he dove in between me and the turn that I was making, and I had nowhere to go but out. And during that course, we hit each other. And then we have cameras all over the cars, right? So we got cameras
right?
on the back, we got cameras on the sides, we got cameras everywhere, right?
Mhm.
So right after the crash, all the referees came out there and they're grabbing all our SD cards from all the cameras, right? So then we
Right.
have to go to review, and the heart surgeon's like, yeah, he's buying me a new car, right? Because he hit me. I'm like, you squeezed me out. Like, I don't know
Right.
what
You
you're
and
talking about,
me.
right?
Yeah.
So we get in there, they go through the footage, and so I was cleared. It wasn't my thing, but if it was ruled my fault, I have to buy him a
Uh-huh.
race car.
That's
That's
the remedy for that.
Yeah, and you, like, if you like crash somebody and don't fix their car or buy them a
You're
new
out.
car, you're not going to be welcome there again. Like, it's
Okay.
that kind of it's like that's gentleman racing. Is
Gotcha.
if
Gotcha.
you crash, you buy the other person,
Okay, so I'm
basically.
gonna stick to golf because I don't have to buy anybody. I can buy you some clubs if I,
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
'cause what? Like, I call State Farm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the other thing is, like, there's no
Right,
insurance.
nobody-
You can't buy
right.
insurance. There,
Yeah.
like, they'll say, "Can I get some insurance on my Radical race car?" They go, "Yeah, no. In fact, do you have a life insurance policy? We're going to call MetLife, and maybe they need to cancel that."
Cancel you.
Or
You're gonna get dropped.
yeah, it's like, or like your medical. I've always wondered, because I mean, I fell off a bike and dislocated 2 fingers, these 2 fingers that are all
Mm,
swollen. And
mm,
I just got the bill. It was $18,000.
yeah.
Can you imagine? I haven't even gotten the ambulance bill from the ambulance I took. I'm like, wow,
It's funny because it's when I was getting life insurance, what I thought you were going to say is they ask you about stuff like that. And I want to say they asked me about race car driving. I was just doing the whole thing with insurance. They asked me, did I skydive? They asked me, they were asking like risky hobbies. And I was listening, and I'm looking at this lady like, are you out of your mind? No, I'm incredulous. No, why would I ever be doing? And then you're like, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, people do that.
Yeah, I'm a registered free fall skydiver, so that's yeah. I'm like,
I'm like, are you insane? Why would
I,
I be doing that?
what people say too. Why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane? And you
Right.
go, obviously you've never been skydiving.
Right. And
We
it's
don't.
funny because I kind do want to skydive just because it was a few years ago. I heard a story with Will Smith, and he was just talking about how you worry about it and you worry about it, and then you jump out when you realize that it just changes your perspective on life. It was more like the ayahuasca thing that you hear people talking about, where they have these breakthroughs or whatever. So then you kind of are interested in just that thing, not really actually jumping out of the plane or actually ayahuasca. I'm just more interested in the result that you say you got. So that was the only thing that kind of made me.
I've done ayahuasca too.
Talk to me. What's that? You said ayahuasca. Did I pronounce it wrong, or are you saying something different?
No, it's like AW. Ayahuasca. I mean, why do I say ayahuasca? I don't. It's ayahuasca.
Are we saying the same thing, or are you saying something different? Because I'm saying ayahuasca. Is that? Yes. Am I saying it wrong? Okay.
No, you're saying it right.
It's curious for pronouncing something wrong. I went around for years saying analogous, and it was like analogous. So I'm cool if you said no, Noelle. That's not how you say that.
Obviously, I've taken too much of it. You know, when you know ayahuasca, like I know ayahuasca, you know, it ain't ayahuasca anymore. It's ayahuasca.
Okay. All right. Talk to me. What was that? If we can even stop the recording if you want to, because now
I'm like, so right after my first experience at ayahuasca, I'm like, I got the camera out and I recorded that moment. I'd recommend.
Really?
If you ever do it, and I'm not recommending it because I don't know what the liability would be for that. I'm always doing
I asked you, so don't worry about that. And I don't think anyone's ever died anyway. It's a psychedelic, so it's not I mean, unless I jump off a bridge, I guess.
It's
they put you in the middle of the field or something is kind of how I understood it, because even the one I was looking at, you have to sleep outside. That's kind of some of the stuff that has kind of made me be like, oh God, why can't I just do this and go to the home or go to my house afterwards? But anyway, keep going.
So it was me and my wife. I had a guide, a shaman, and I hired a nurse.
Okay.
So, you know, I and then went up in the mountains of Peru and did it there and had was like an Airbnb type property that was there up in the hills. Yeah. And so I set up the full experience because I think you really want to be you want to really feel safe.
Yeah.
Because you are about to lose control of your mind. People don't realize how much control you have. Same experience skydiving. You know, when you first jump out of a plane, you realize how comforting gravity is. You realize how, you know, like you've taken for granted the ability of this like physics, right?
Yeah.
Because for the first 200, 300 feet, you have no control over anything. You haven't hit velocity yet. You have no control. Now, once you are fast enough skydiving, you can start to control where you go, whether, you know, it's forward, backwards, right, left. You can start to spin. You can start to control it. Well, with ayahuasca, you control nothing, right? So, and in fact, the biggest problem I had in the beginning was, you know, I'm such a brainy, like I study every day. I think I'm like constantly studying and trying to figure stuff out. Right.
Yeah.
So here I am in ayahuasca trying to stay my mind is trying to stay in control. And the more I tried to stay in control, the more like I almost want to say wicked and like hellish, like upsetting the actual experience was. And then I remember, you know, just going through some of the others. I've like done every self-development thing you can think of.
Walking on cot stones and all that. Yeah, me too.
All the stuff. The stuff. Like, you know, I run to personal development. I think it's a direct reflection of your success is how evolved you are. Good success. I'm not talking about bad success, but good success to me, it comes from a very healthy human being, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So at any rate, I'm like in this trip, and then I remember the word allow. And I said, just allow this, allow this. And then I just went totally, I mean, it was the most beautiful experience when I allowed it to happen. When I thought it was going to beat the living, it was not going to be good. And then when I allowed the experience to happen, that it's like everything opened up. I
Yeah.
started, like, the secrets of the universe were really being revealed. Like
Now
all
playing The Secrets of the Universe by Nanan.
Okay, Siri.
all right. Wow. I mean, we got a song for that.
I know. I did not know that song existed, but
I
okay.
didn't
Secrets of the
introduce it
universe.
either. But people are
Wow.
listening. I got all the favorites over here listening. So it revealed. I realized just how fake the world is and how we're all pretending.
Yeah.
And we put on these masks. So a lot of the
Yeah.
masks were starting to come off. And the vulnerability of human beings, nature, it's like you start seeing, like, I'm like, wow, deers are really there, engaged, like ready to love on you. And
Yeah.
the trees there just giving you air and
Yeah.
like
And
all of a sudden,
oxygen and
like
shade. Yeah.
all like everything. I mean, now I'm like picking up bugs and taking them outside. I'm like freeing bees that get stuck in my pool. I'm like, I feel such a connection to the planet and to the animals, and to, like, I still kill brown recluse spiders because that's pretty ugly. When people get bit by those, you could lose a hand. But most, like most creatures, I have a ton of respect for, and plants. And now I look around my house, which is, like, I have tons of plants. Like, I probably spend almost $2,000 a month just watering them.
Yeah.
So just, especially in Vegas. So just, it's keeping them like alive and
What
seeing.
made you go do it? Okay, it's again, okay, because it sounds like, I'm telling you, I have been on the fence about this but I haven't been able to pull the trigger. But I've been to Tony Robbins, and I've done Landmark, and I've done
You did Landmark?
all of them. Oh, of course. Don't I sound like, everybody says, when I say it, everybody's like, oh, you sound like a Landmark graduate. I'm like, I love Landmark.
Did you do masters?
I did not do masters because I did it and then COVID happened. So I actually still want to and plan on continuing my education.
If you go to masters, I will be at your graduation. It's just a weekend. I will. I've done masters.
I didn't know we had a graduation. The last one I did, we just kind of read the letter that we wrote to the people, and I never. So don't even tell me what happens. I mean, you're giving it away. I didn't know there was a graduation.
Yeah. So masters. Like, I've done masters like maybe 2 or 3 times.
Really?
It's like really the core technology of how they build all the courses, how they built everything. It's what they train the trainers with. To be able to deliver the information. It's like they uncover.
Because for a while they weren't having the in-person classes, and it was all just online for like 2 years. Everything they were sending me, because remember COVID happened, and then you had to just do them online, and then they were just like online. So I started to see in my email where it's like, oh, okay, we have this, and it's in person, and it wasn't any in my city because I'm in Orlando now. When I did it before, I was in Dallas. I was in Dallas.
Some of them. You're able to re-audit the courses anytime you want.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is an in-person, Landmark was designed to be a human experience, right? Where you connect on a whole new level with human beings. And with the idea of, it's unbelievable. It changed my life. I went through it when I was 21 years old in 1991.
Wow.
When it was super hardcore, like super hardcore.
I feel awful.
Yeah. So, yeah. But you should be able to go. Yeah, I think you could go back and you can do the in-person, audit it, and really go through all the stuff because there's so many breakthroughs that you have interpersonally to break through some of those emotions, some of those mental blocks, some of those physical blocks that you might have that could hold you back from whatever you want. And
which is probably what's been holding me back from the ayahuasca and the losing of control, because everybody that I've talked to, like you, has had an amazing experience. I have one of my really good friends in Salt Lake City, and she's, can kind of work as a shaman, and she's offered to come to her house and do it, and a few things like that. And just every time I'm always just like, I don't know what's under there. I mean, whatever.
It is. I mean,
that's barrier back, and I'm afraid. Go
to
ahead.
the degree that your mind owns you and you don't own your mind, that could be a terrifying experience, right? So to me, I know that I am not my mind. I control my mind. My mind is an organ, muscle, whatever. But I own it. I control it. I tell it what to learn, what it's going to do, and I own my mind, just like I own my emotions and my physical sensations. So, to me, it is really an out of mind experience, and your mind is going to come up with every reason, excuse, justification, and story it can come up with not to go, to go be challenged.
Right.
All
Good
your
point.
beliefs, all your ideas, all
Yeah.
of them will dissolve in front of your eyes.
That's powerful. I am signing up. There's a place right here in Orlando that does them like every single weekend. It's like the Church of Ayahuasca, I think it's called, in Orlando. And I've even seen him on a documentary, and I think that's what my mind has done. I'm saying stuff and saying like, why did you do that? Like I'm studying it and watching documentaries on it and coming up with, oh, well, that person was vomiting, so you don't want to do that, do you? And just okay, thank you.
It's like that need to be right? Like
and to stay in control. Yeah, it's definitely some bad programming. I know I still have some programming that I am needing to break past. I know. And the old me is fighting to keep to stay alive and to stay in there. And the new me is why I asked you that question, probably.
Yeah, and there's good control, right? Yeah. There's good control. I wouldn't want to drive a car without a steering wheel,
right?
Well,
so you drive a race car, so I.
Yeah. The bad thing is if the steering wheel came off, in my hands, because it does come off with a button. So
I know, I've seen that. Yeah. And I'm walking around with it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird.
It's got all kinds of buttons and paddles and a thing that plugs into it, and then of course, within your reach, you can pull a fire extinguisher in case the car catches on fire. You wear a fire suit and helmet, neck guard, neck brace. You're like bolted into the car, so 5-point harness. And then the seats are custom designed to fit your body. Because when you're pulling 3 Gs, it can really hurt your ribs, your hips, and because you're pushing weight, like it's 3 times your body weight into the side of the car. So it can be pretty, but I mean, it's like a roller coaster, but you're in control of it. Yeah.
I like roller coasters, so I guess maybe I would like race car driving, and maybe if I can release some of these preconceived notions, I would be able to jump out of a plane and drive a race car.
There's that. It's funny. There's that threshold. To me, it's almost like the faith, right? Like you just fall into, faith. Like I've been, baptized in the River Jordan. I'm like totally Christian. I don't talk about it with anybody just because I don't want to be that guy. I'm always worried about people coming up, saying they're a Christian out of the gate. Like, why do you have to say that?
Yeah.
So, but to me, it's when you're in a race car, there's the point of control. And then there's a point of just where you have faith in what the car is going to do. You have faith in aerodynamics. There's a point where it doesn't make sense anymore. Like when you're doing 130 around a corner, that if you did that same corner at 60 miles an hour, you would fly off the track. So what happens is the downforce pushes the car down like a pancake, and you have slicks, these slick tires. They get gummy like bubble gum, and you're like on rails. So the tires stick to the ground, and then the downforce pushes the car down, and you're able to just do things in a car that you think are physically impossible. They just don't make sense in your mind.
Okay. You've taught me a
So-
lot here today. I must say, you taught me a lot here today. So I love it. All right, we've been over here almost an hour. Any closing? Any closing? Because we're not going to recommend, obviously, to the audience the ayahuasca. You don't have to go to the church. You don't have to go to be a Christian. You don't have to do any of these last things that we said. But this last thing we would want you to do. Go ahead, Andrew.
You know, my big thing is invest in yourself. Go out and do things that make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think I always try and do things that terrify me, that make sense. I think a fix and flip will terrify most people, but I think it's one of the most rewarding to see something that you make beautiful. You can buy a whole kitchen for like $12,000 from IKEA. Throw an IKEA kitchen in it, and you feel like a kitchen god, right? You know, and you do a couple of things to make something beautiful, repaint it, you know, cut some landscaping and make $100,000. To I don't know, it's just like, you know, it just make things better and make money doing it. Like, and then if you want to keep that fix and flip it into a DSCR loan, rent it out to somebody, and you'll build equity that'll build long-term wealth. So, you know, I would, you know, definitely do that. Buy a business.
Highly recommend.
Yeah. So I do everything that I literally say. So, you know, so I'm not telling you to set up an e-commerce business. I'll show you how to do it, but I'm like, we don't buy those businesses. So yeah.
I love it. Well, all right. It's been amazing talking to you, Andrew. I will talk to you next time.